Okay, so in the first part of 9-3, we were multiplying matrices. Okay, then we showed that the commutative property doesn't work with matrices like it does with numbers. And so when you're doing the practice, there are a couple that do the commutative property. You just have to do each of them. Do parentheses first. Okay, now we're going to show the distributive property. Okay, and I do need to point out the distributive property here with these, where it's A times parentheses B plus C, and then you have AB plus AC. When it's distributed, the A is in front. In the practice, it's not. So the practice, you can't just put the same answer. They are actually going to be different, okay? So when we do numbers, it doesn't matter the order of that multiplication, but it does with matrices. So what we're going to do is number 6, we're going to do just in the parentheses first, and then we'll do the multiplication. So I have matrix A. I'm going to write out what this all says here with matrices. So I have matrix A, which is 3, 2, negative 1, and 4. Then it's times B plus C. So matrix negative 2, 5, 6, 7 plus 1, 1, negative 5, 3. We need to do the addition inside the parentheses first. So this matrix A out here stayed the same. So I have 3, 2, negative 1, and 4. And it is going to multiply what I get when I add those two matrices that are inside the parentheses. Okay? Remember, you add the corresponding parts. So negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 plus negative 5 is positive 1. And 7 plus 3 is 10. So that's where I get that matrix. It's from adding inside the parentheses. Now I want to multiply matrix A times that new matrix, okay? So when I do this, remember it's the rows from the first matrix times the columns from the second. So when we start our new matrix, I'm going to have the rows from this one. So I have the row 3, and it's going to multiply by something, and 2. Now let's check out the size of our matrix here real quick. I know that here I have a 2 by 2 and a 2 by 2. So their interior numbers equal, their exterior numbers is what our new one will be. So I know I'm going to have a 2 by 2 matrix. So this that I just wrote is the first column. So I know I'm going to have a second column. So I'm just going to repeat it since it's all still in the first row. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do the second row. I'm not filling in those columns yet, okay? So the second row is negative 1, 4. So negative 1 times something plus 4 times something, and I repeat it for the second column. And then we're going to use the columns from the second. So the first column, so it's negative 1, 1 in that order, negative 1, 1, and negative 1, 1. The second column is 6, 10, so in that order I fill in 6, 10 into my second column there. So now we just get our 2 by 2 matrix answer. So I have negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. I have 18 plus 20 would be 38. I have positive 1 plus 4 is 5. Negative 6 plus 40 would be 34. So now let's come over to number 7 and see if I distribute that A. Notice the A is in front. Do we get the same answer? Commutative property, it didn't work. Let's see if the distributive does. Okay. So here, I got to be able to see my matrices here. I have A times B and A times C. I have to do those first in this problem the way it's set up, okay? I'm going to do it the way it is. So I'm going to write it out as matrices first. So I have matrix A, separate that out. 3, 2, negative 1, 4. times matrix B, negative 2, 5, 6, 7. Then it's plus matrix A, 3, 2, negative 1, 4, times matrix C, 1, 1, negative 5, 3. All right, so I got to do this first, multiply these. So when I do that, this first one is the rows. The second one is the columns. Whoops, if I can spell. And then this one will be the rows times these columns. All right, so let's set up what we have. So again, these are 2 by 2 matrices multiplying 2 by 2 matrices. So our answers will be 2 by 2. All right, so I'm going to use the rows from the first one. So I'm going to stay in the first row of my multiplication here. So I have 3 times something plus 2 times something. Okay, and I know I'm going to have a 2 by 2, so I have another column. Oops. 3 times something plus 2 times something. And it will end that matrices. Okay, let's go ahead and do the second row while we're doing rows here. So negative 1 and a 4, negative 1 and 4 for that row. Okay, so I'm just working my way across these matrices that I have in my problem here. So I'm going to fill in the columns. First column stays in this first column here. So negative 2, 6 is what I'm filling in. Negative 2, 6 in that order. The second column is 5, 7. So 5, 7 and 5, 7. All right, so that's A times B. And now we're going to do the A times C. I'm not going to simplify that first one yet because we're going to go ahead and put, whoops, got to get my color right. Now we're going to do the multiplication of A times C. Okay, so we want the rows from this one. So I have 3, 2. And there's going to be 2 columns here, so I'm going to do it twice. Second row is negative 1, 4. So far, that part of these 2 matrices looks the same because the first thing we were multiplying was the exact same matrix. Okay, then we take the columns from the second matrix, and I covered it up, sorry. 1, negative 5, so 1, negative 5 in the first column. And then the second column is 1, 3. Now let's simplify these matrices here. Okay, so this first one, let's see, I have a negative 6 plus 12 is a positive 6. 15 plus 14 will be 29. 2 plus 24 would be 26. Negative 5 and 28 would be 23. So there's the first matrix, and then it's going to be plus the second matrix. Let's see, so I have 3 plus a negative 10, so negative 7. 3 plus 6 is 9. Negative 1 plus negative 20 is negative 21. Negative 1 plus 12 would be 11. And now we just add these 2 together. So I have a 6 plus a negative 7 is negative 1. 29 plus 9 is 38. 26 plus a negative 21 is 5. 23 plus 11 would be 34. So notice our 2 answers are the same when the distributive property is done correctly. When what you distribute ends up in front, notice that because in the practice it's not. So you have to do both in the practice. You can't just say they're the same answer. Okay?